Evolutionary thinking, toxin antitoxin genes, TAs, a topic of my research, are found predominantly in the intergenomic region and not within the genes, as indicated in the figure. Two interpretations can be made. TAs integrate only in the intergenomic region, and those genomes in which TAs integrated within the core genes perished, while others persisted. Which is appealing, which one is easier to convey and understand, and which one is more accurate? The first interpretation, where TAs integrate in intergenic regions, is clear and easier to understand. However, it implies that TAs have active mechanisms of differentiating coding regions and non-coding regions. The second interpretation, proposing selective loss of TAs integrated into core genes, is more complex, requiring deeper understanding and evolutionary thinking. There is an interesting story about fighter planes, bullet holes, and a statistician. During World War II, fighter planes were used to raid enemy territories or defend a country's airspace by engaging in dogfights with enemy planes. Unfortunately, some planes were lost during these operations. In order to reduce these losses, it was clear that increasing the armor of the planes would be beneficial. However, adding complete body armor to the planes would also significantly decrease their efficiency. So the question became, what is the optimal amount of armor that could be added to the planes to minimize losses while maintaining efficiency? To answer this question, a group of engineers partnered with a statistician named Abraham Wald. They examined the planes that had returned safely after combat and meticulously counted the number and location of bullet holes on each plane. They found that the wings and fuselage had sustained a greater number of bullet holes compared to the engines. Despite this information, Wald recommended reinforcing the engines only, rather than the wings and fuselage. This may seem counterintuitive, but it is important to note that the planes that were examined were the ones that had managed to make it back safely despite being shot at. This led the researchers to a crucial realization. The bullet holes in the wings and fuselage were not as detrimental as those in the engines. The engine is a critical component of the plane's functionality and ability to make it back safely. Any plane that sustained significant damage to the engine would be lost. Essentially, the engine was the vital feature for the plane's fitness in the context of war. If gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn out too quickly to sustain life. If gravity were slightly weaker, stars and galaxies might never have formed at all. Stephen Hawking. A counter-argument to this profound statement in evolutionary thinking could be as follows. While gravity variations may have existed across the universe, entities with extreme gravitational forces, either stronger or weaker, likely could not sustain stable existence. Those with greater gravity would burn out too quickly, while those with weaker gravity might not form cohesive structures, eventually being absorbed by larger systems. What we observe today, stable stars, galaxies, and the potential for life, represents only the remnants of conditions that could endure over time. The universe likely underwent a process of cosmic selection where only stable systems persisted, while others, unable to maintain stability, perished or merged into different structures.